Good morning, everybody. I pray that y'all are doing good. Happy July 5th. We're getting ready to jump into Nehemiah 5. I pray that this series has been motivating and encouraging for each and every one of you. It's so important to stay in the Word of God and stay focused on what it is He's called you to do. Opposition will come, enemies will rise up, and it's all strategic. It's all meant to cause you to stop, to cause you to panic, to cause you to give up. And so we now see what happens when enemies on the outside are opposing the rebuilding of the wall. But what happens when the enemies are on the inside? That's what we're going to be learning today. So we're reading Nehemiah 5. About this time, some of the men and their wives raised a cry of protest against their fellow Jews. They were saying, "We have such large families, we need more food to survive." Others said, "We have mortgaged our fields, vineyards, and homes to get food during the famine." And others said, "We have had to borrow money on our fields and vineyards to pay our taxes. We belong to the same family as those who are wealthy, and our children are just like theirs. Yet we must sell our children into slavery just to get enough money to live. We have already sold some of our daughters, and we are helpless to do anything about it. For our fields and vineyards are already mortgaged to others." When I heard their complaints, and this is Nehemiah, he's saying here, when I heard their complaints, I was very angry. After thinking it over, I spoke out against these nobles and officials. I told them, "You are hurting your own relatives by charging interest when they borrow money." Then I called a public meeting to deal with the problem. At the meeting, I said to them, "We are doing all we can to redeem our Jewish relatives who have had to sell themselves to pagan foreigners, but you are selling them back into slavery again? How often must we redeem them?" And they had nothing to say in their defense. Then I pressed further. "What you are doing is not right. Should you not walk in the fear of our God in order to avoid being mocked by enemy nations? I myself, as well as my brothers and my workers, have been lending the people money and grain. But now let us stop this business of charging interest. You must restore their fields, vineyards, olive groves, and homes to them this very day, and repay the interest you charged when you lent them money, grain, new wine, and olive oil." They replied, "We will give back everything and demand nothing more from the people. We will do as you say." Then I called the priest and made the nobles and officials swear to do what they had promised. I shook out the folds of my robe and said, "If you fail to keep your promise, may God shake you like this from your homes and from your property." The whole assembly responded, "Amen." And they praised the Lord, and the people did as they had promised. For the entire 12 years that I was governor of Judah, from the 20th year to the 32nd year of the reign of King Artaxerxes, neither I nor my officials drew on our official food allowance. The former governors, in contrast, had laid heavy burdens on the people, demanding a daily ration of food and wine besides 40 pieces of silver. Even their assistants took advantage of the people. But because I feared God, I did not act this way. I also devoted myself to working on the wall and refused to acquire any land, and I required all my servants to spend time working on the wall. I asked for nothing, even though I regularly fed 150 Jewish officials at my table. Besides all the visitors from the other lands, the provisions I paid for each day included 1 ox, 6 choice sheep or goats, and a large number of poultry. And every 10 days we needed a large supply of all kinds of wine. Yet I refused to claim the governor's food allowance because the people already carried a heavy burden. Remember, oh my God, all that I have done for these people, and bless me for it. All right, y'all. So we see that. One second, y'all. Oh, it's a critical security alert. They're just suggesting that I change my password, so I'll work on that after the teaching. So what we're seeing here in chapter 5 is that Nehemiah, and this is my notes, Nehemiah is confronting injustice, greed, and exploitation. Okay? So the people are crying out. Okay? They're starving. They're mortgaging their fields. They're even selling their children into slavery just to make it, just to survive. They're drowning in debt. Okay? And it's by the hand of their very own Jewish brothers, their very own relatives. And on top of that, y'all, that wasn't enough. They're charging interest. Okay? So they're making them pay even more on top of what they already owe them. And so the wealthy are also taking advantage of the poor. The builders are also suffering while others are profiting. So y'all, it's a lot of dysfunction here. It's a lot of chaos happening. And this has made Nehemiah angry as he has heard the cries of his people, the cries. Okay? And so what we need to understand is, number one, sometimes the battle comes from your own people. It comes from within your own household. And Jesus said the enemies will be those in your very own household. But in this context, it's their own relatives, okay? The people that they should be able to trust, they are taking advantage of the people, okay? So we see here, number two, that you cannot build God's house while ignoring injustice. So you can't keep on building and building what God told you to do, but ignore what's happening within, not just around, right? But what's happening within, okay? We got to deal with what's happening in our own house. We got to deal with what's happening with what we can see, okay? And so I wrote down that God sees, he cares, and he knows what is happening behind closed doors. See, Nehemiah has a heart for the people, okay? He didn't ignore their cries. He didn't just push them to the side and say, oh, that's just the way it is, deal with it. No, he acted, he responded, he stood up, and he wasn't going to take it. And he wasn't going to allow them to take it either. Okay? God gave Nehemiah this type of heart. He gave him a heart for the people. Okay? You have to have that same heart. You have to have the same heart that God has for us. Okay? God is the same when it comes to injustice. Okay? You cannot just sit back and accept things the way that they are when you can see this is very wrong. You have to do something about it. Okay? Number three, leaders must confront what others avoid. You've got to confront what others are avoiding. So the nobles, officials, the wealthy, the oppressors, Nehemiah confronted them all. It didn't matter what rank you were, what status you were, what position you held. Nehemiah confronted them all. He is a leader. Okay? So real leadership, okay, this is real leadership, and I'm sure many of you have dealt with bad leadership. But real leadership confronts wrong, okay? It protects the vulnerable. It stands for righteousness, and it demands accountability. You're doing this, you're doing that, you need to stop. You're hurting the people, okay? This is wrong, okay? Do you not fear God? So he confronts them, okay? And the good thing is they listened. They listened, and this was successfully done for 12 years. And I believe that's how long Nehemiah was governor. And so number 4, we see here that Nehemiah is modeling integrity, and he refuses to take advantage of the people. He could have been just like all the others. He could have gotten his portion, okay? But he didn't do that. He's not that type of person. That's not his heart, okay? How can I have all of this and I see you suffering over here? How can I see y'all taking advantage of the people and I'm just sitting here moseying on by, rebuilding God's wall, and I do nothing? No. Maybe, just maybe, this was even bigger than the wall, and God wanted to show me what was happening even in the midst of the wall, in the middle of the wall, right? What's happening behind closed doors. And then 5, God honors those who do what is right. And Nehemiah is asking God to remember this. Remember what I've done, God, and honor me for it. And God is going to honor him. God is a God of justice. Okay? God doesn't want people suffering. God doesn't want people hurting and crying out and having to sell their children just to get by, mortgaging their fields. This is ridiculous. Okay? Adding interest on there so people can struggle to keep trying to pay back their debts. And I'm so sorry, y'all. It's a lot going on my phone. Let me mute it. I do apologize. So we got to do what's right. All throughout Nehemiah, it's so many nuggets. God has given us revelation of how to respond, how to approach him, the type of heart posture to have. Make your requests known. It doesn't matter who's in charge, who's the leader, the king, right? God can even make their hearts kind towards you. He can make your enemies to be at peace with you. God is in control no matter what. Tell him what's going on. Tell him what needs to be fixed in your life. Tell him how you're struggling in whatever area. Tell him about your debts. Tell him how you're trying to get your life in order. Tell him, God, I'm trying to stabilize things, but this is happening, that's happening. Tell him about your family. My own family is making it hard for me. They're making it to where I got to pay rent just to live with them, and they know I'm trying to get on my feet. They know I'm trying to come back from collapsing financially. You see what I'm saying? People will take advantage of you, and many times it's your very own family. It's the people that you trusted, the people that you loved. You grew up with them, right? And they take advantage of you. And so we got to stand up for those that cannot stand up for themselves when we see the injustice, okay? And there was a time I walked into the post office, and I saw that there was a new woman working. And she was still learning the ins and outs of working the front of the post office. And the woman that was meant to be training her and mentoring her was being very mean, very rude to her. And that thought came back to me, that I should have stood up for that woman and I should have defended her. And I didn't do that in that moment. And at that time, I really saw it as entertainment. And I should have did something when I saw her looking so frazzled and looking so overwhelmed. We don't take advantage of people just because we feel like we can, because of our role, because I was here first. I'm not worried about losing my job because I've been here longer than you. That doesn't give you a right to bully. It doesn't give you a right to oppress and harm. God is exposing all of this. We have got to stop, because as easily as he put you in that position, he can take you down. You better read Nebuchadnezzar, or Daniel rather, because that's where the story is. So God bless each and every one of you. Do what's right. And if you know somebody is in need, help them. If you know somebody is crying out, be there for them. Pray with them. This is not a game, because the tables can easily turn and it's you crying out. It's you being oppressed. It's you being taken advantage of. So don't sit back and just allow evil to continue on. Speak up. Nehemiah did. See you on the next video.